Hello everyone. In this session, we want to take a look at upgrading an existing network load balancing cluster. In our previous session, we looked at the network load balancing cluster and we saw how we were able to distribute traffic across the cluster. Today we want to look at upgrading the cluster. Probably you might have server 2008 or server 2012 and you want to upgrade your cluster to server 2012 or 2. There are two methods or two ways that we can use to upgrade our existing network load balancing cluster. One method is to take the entire cluster offline and upgrade all the hosts. If we use this method, we're going to obviously have some downtime where clients are not going to be able to access the data on the cluster because we're going to be taking the entire cluster offline. The second method, however, is to leave the cluster online and perform what we call a rolling upgrade. With a rolling upgrade, what we're going to be doing is upgrading one node at a time. So let's say, for example, we had 12 nodes in the cluster. What we will be doing is taking one node, take that node offline, upgrade that node, and then add the node back to the cluster. In this way, the cluster service will still be available and our clients will still have access to content. Let's take a look at the steps we would take to perform a rolling upgrade. The first thing that you want to do is to run the drain node command on the node that we're going to be taking offline. When you drain the node, you're making sure that any pending client requests are addressed before you update that cluster. You can use the command drain start NLB cluster node hostname to drain the node. And then you want to stop the cluster service. You can do that by right-clicking on the host, pointing to the control host, and then clicking stop. You might want to evict the node from the cluster and install the new server, the NLB feature on the node, and then add that node back to the cluster. For each node, you can repeat steps 1 to 4. After all the nodes have been upgraded, you can run the update cluster functional level commandlet. There are a number of points that we need to bear in mind. When you are using the NLB manager, you must be a member of the administrators group on the host that you are configuring, or you must have been delegated the appropriate authority. If you are configuring a cluster or host by running the manager from a computer that is not part of the cluster, you do not have to be a member of the administrators group on that computer. Also, when you stop handling NLB cluster traffic, client connections that are already in progress are interrupted. to avoid interrupting active connections. We would use the drain stop cluster control commandlet that we talked about instead of the stop command. And this allows the host to continue servicing active connections but disables all new traffic to that host. If you want to avoid downtime with your NLB cluster, Microsoft recommends that you use the rolling upgrade. And that's the upgrade where you take each node offline, upgrade that node, and add the node back to the cluster. This is the end of our session on network load balancing upgrade, and I want to thank you for listening.